If you don't watch where you're going near train crossings, you could get a ticket. The Utah Transit Authority has drawn an ordinance to ban distracting behavior near train crossings. That includes talking on a phone, texting, listening to music on earbuds. 8 pedestrians have died in the past year after they were struck by Frontrunner or Trax trains. Joining us to discuss that and safety at train crossings is Jerry Carpenter, spokesperson for the UTA. Welcome. What's the status of this ordinance?
Well, just this past Wednesday, the UTA Board of Trustees reviewed, discussed at length, and ultimately approved a new ordinance that will allow our transit police officers to issue citations to people that they observe engaging in distracted behavior when they're crossing in front of the trains.
What's a citation? Is it like a parking ticket or is it a big fine? What is it?
It's a civil citation. UTA has civil ordinances like a city, and so it would be a civil fine. The first offense would be $50. The second offense would be $100. We also offer a train safety class that first-time offenders can choose to take instead of paying the $50 fine.
Who are you targeting? Who are you really concerned about here?
Well, really what we're worried about is safety. As you mentioned in your intro, we've been very concerned about the recent rash of incidents we've been having. We've had a number of incidences where pedestrians have just not been paying attention and stepped into the path of an oncoming train. Our trains are very large. They can't stop quickly. They can't swerve. If you put yourself in their path of travel, there's nothing our trains can do to avoid hitting you. So by passing this ordinance, our board made a very bold move in saying that we don't think that we're going to allow this, and we're going to aggressively try to educate people about how to not be distracted when they're crossing the tracks, and if necessary, there is a punitive option there.
Trax has been with us for what, about a dozen years now? Are we becoming complacent? I mean, we are seeing more accidents now than we had seen in years past. Is that correct, or is that just a perception? Those are hard numbers.
Yeah, and just so far this year we've had 11 Trax incidents. That's nearly as many as we had throughout the entire year in 2011. You know, there are a number of different things that we're seeing. One, we are running more service now than we have historically. We added new lines out to the west side of Salt Lake County. We've got the airport and Draper lines coming on, Frontrunner to Provo. So there are more trains out there interacting with pedestrians and motorists than ever before. That's a fact. But we're also very concerned about this trend we're seeing every day of people being distracted either behind the wheel or on foot. And we see it not just with our trains, but with other train providers. Union Pacific and Amtrak had 7 fatalities between them last year. And we see an accident nearly every week on the highways where a pedestrian is struck by a car. So it's a very concerning trend that people just aren't paying the attention that they need to.
Proactively, UTA has launched a public awareness, safety awareness campaign targeting largely pedestrians and people on platforms. Is that right?
That's right, yeah. Education is very important. We've spent maybe $200,000 in the past year on trying to get the message out to the public, how to be safe around trains. Look both ways. A train can come from either direction at any time. Stay behind the yellow line. If you have a child with you, hold their hand. These are all very basic messages that we're putting out there aggressively and will continue to do so. We're also looking at the engineering aspects of our system. Are there things we can do to make our system safer so people will look and pay attention more when they approach that critical junction? And then ultimately the enforcement is the third E in that pyramid. And that is, you know, if we see people engaging in unsafe behavior, we're going to attempt to enforce safe behavior when necessary.
All right, we hope that you don't have any more accidents, that we don't have to report any more accidents, that people will pay attention on the platform and at the intersections and at those signalized crossings. It's very important.
Yes.
Jerry Carpenter, UTA, thank you very much for being our guest. And thank you for joining us today. We hope it's a great Sunday for you. We'll save a place at the table for you again next week for Sunday Edition.